Sexual assaults are probably the most unreported crime, one of the most unreported crimes in this country. Women and other victims, including males, and sometimes are hesitant to come forward and report the crime. Two, this is a police officer that it even invokes even a greater sense of fear and hesitancy on the part of victims. And three, we believe there are other victims out there of this man who has been charged with 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault and 1 count of official oppression. We are really calling on the community that if you have been victimized by this man that you see back here, who is identified as former Deputy Constable Richard Cornejo of Harris County Precinct 4. He was fired previously by, I believe, Mark Herman, who is the constable, when this investigation first started going, and so he's no longer a police officer. When you look at the picture behind you, the picture on the right, on your right, is with the facial hair. That is his booking photo from yesterday. The picture, which includes the goatee, the picture on your left is a photo of him in uniform with a mustache. Our victims that we have identified have indicated that he was wearing glasses, prescription glasses, at the time of the sexual assault, so he's also known to be wearing glasses. So as people look at this, please keep that in mind. Investigators were initially notified in July of 2018 of an allegation of sexual assault by uniformed Harris County Precinct 4 deputy that you see beside me. The allegation included allegation of a sexual assault that occurred on or about sometime in May of 2018. This investigation was immediately launched under the direction of Commander Morris that you see back here, Heather Morris, who has internal affairs, including proactive internal affairs. And the allegation led to a second complainant in November of 2018. The deputy constable was alleged to be patrolling the Greens Point area and targeting females leaving a nightclub in the area, specifically the Palacios nightclub, Palacios. The location is a well-known after-hours club located at 414 North Sam Houston Parkway. Further investigation allowed investigators to develop that, again, this now former deputy constable, Richard Cornejo, as a lead suspect. The deputy actually provided a statement to investigators earlier on, but the evidence investigators possessed refuted his original statement. Ultimately, former Deputy Cornejo was indicted by a Harris County grand jury for 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault, and 1 count of official oppression. Warrants for his arrest were issued, and investigators with the Houston Police Department's Internal Affairs Division proactive unit, with assistance of Westside Patrol officers, placed Richard Cornejo into custody without incident yesterday morning. Again, he was arrested on June 6, 2018, and he's, as far as we know, still behind bars. The typical method of operation for this criminal was to spend time parked in the parking lot of the club, Palacios, and then stop women on traffic as they were leaving the club. From there, he would direct them to another location or follow them home in close proximity to the club, to their home, to one of the victims' homes. So they did not enter his patrol vehicle, which was a marked Tahoe. We do not have official statements from complainants, but secondhand reports of exposure to women at the Club Palacios property. So not only has this guy been charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault and official oppression, 1 count of official oppression, we have developed some information. There was also some additional crimes committed by this man, including indecent exposure. So, and trying to expose other women, forcing them to expose themselves. We really urge people to look at this picture, to imagine him in that uniform with glasses on, and to please come forward. We always stand with the proposition here in the Houston Police Department for our victims of sexual assault that we believe you. Having said that, once that outcry comes in, we leave no stone unturned to get to all the facts. And what we're looking for today is really, we want the other victims, whether it's from indecent exposure or any other act of official oppression, please come forward. Lastly, if you're a person, again, that's undocumented and you're even more fearful of coming forward, please know that we have tools with the U-Visa program and other programs to actually protect you from deportation, and that's just official government policy that we protect our victims. So do not fear coming forward. Please step forward. We want to bring justice to all of our victims. And with that, the investigation again is ongoing to try to identify these other victims of the exposure that we have information on, but we still have not been able to actually contact the victims. And we're just asking anybody that was victimized by this former police officer who not only violated the penal code, right, not only violated committed these sexual acts, we also have a man that violated his oath of office. And I'm just grateful that Mark Herman terminated his employment, and he won't be misusing the authority given to him by the people of the state of Texas and Harris County. And with that, I'll open it up to questions, then I'll move to Spanish.
Herman's statement yesterday said that he admitted to and said it was consensual sex. What's your reaction to that?
You know what, we're not, I don't know, I didn't see his statement. I can just tell you that you don't get charged with 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault when you're engaging in consensual sex.
Is there sort of a time frame where you all think that maybe to help jog the victim's memories, like what time do you think?
It was usually happening at night, late at night, when women were coming out of this one bar that we know about, this one nightclub in the Greenspoint area, which is an after-hours club. And quite frankly, you know, he was probably stopping people that he thought were intoxicated and trying to take advantage of them.
Or was it between, like, I don't know, summer of 2017?
Oh, I'm talking about the time? Well, the time frame that we're aware of in this case is the summer of 2018 when we started the investigation. But that's just it. We really believe there's other victims. We don't know this when this conduct started. Do you know when he became a police officer?
I believe it was 2016.
So he became a police officer, we believe it was 2016. So from the time he became employed as a precinct 4 constable in 2016, moving forward, just please, if you were victimized by the way, we don't care when it happened. We don't even care if it's a police officer. Victims, we want you to come forward. We want you to know that you're going to be believed, and we want you to know that we're going to take the allegations seriously. And this is an individual that was in uniform, a person with authority, and when that outcry was made, we took it seriously. We moved very quickly to start investigating. As a result of the work of the Commander Morris and her team in proactive IA, we've actually been able to get 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault and 1 count of official oppression.
Do we have any idea how many people, and you have no idea?
We don't know, but we strongly believe there are other victims out there. You know, it's always why I always tell people, when you know what's on top of the water line, you wonder how deep that pattern of criminal behavior went, right? So we want to know what we don't know, and we need the community's help, and we need the media's help to get it out to the community.
This guy obviously thought he got away with it for we don't know how long until recently. What's your message to anyone else who may be out there doing this and putting a badge on, taking advantage of their
I mean, let me tell you this. We take an oath of office as police officers, as peace officers, as trusted members of society. And when we violate that oath of office, you know, your typical person on the streets, they didn't take an oath of office. So not only are you violating the penal code in terms of the underlying act, you're also violating public trust. And you're also violating the oath we took to the rule of law, to obeying all laws. And so our message to police officers is that when it comes to our attention, we're going to come after you. From our perspective, it's even more important to go after a person who is wearing a uniform and misusing that uniform to commit crimes, and to using that authority given to them to initiate traffic stops and enforcement contacts, and then to actually go out and do what this man did. To us, that is more important than a person is not a police officer, because they're not just committing sexual assaults, they're actually also violating public trust.
What's your message to the victims, because maybe they're concerned that, you know, they themselves did something by, it sounds like there was a small amount of marijuana in their car. What's your message to them when they think of, well, what about all these other things that happened?
Our focus is on a man that has sexually assaulted, committed aggravated sexual assault on women. That's our focus. That's what we're going to be asking about. We're going to be asking about his conduct, and we're going to focus on his conduct. And I assure you that, you know, knowing my DA, and she's more interested in a police officer, a former police officer that during his scope of employment was actually committing these pretty heinous acts. So our message is we're going to focus on violent sexual assault and not focus on somebody having marijuana or whatever else they might be afraid of.
You know, you stand up here and obviously it's a big deal to have the police chief speaking to these people and telling them, don't be afraid, but is it true that, you know, if you don't have these people come forward, these charges won't
Well, these
stack up? You know
well,
what I'm saying? Like, how do you tell people, like, you can stand here and tell them to not be afraid, but if you don't have people come forward, it's not like this
yeah,
guy,
look,
you know?
first of all, he's already got 2 charges, but I believe that part of the healing process for victims of crime, part of the healing process is making sure that they get justice. I believe wholeheartedly that without justice, if they have been victimized by him or someone else, that a big part of that is bringing that suspect to justice. 1, 2, we want to be able to help people with our victim services and our partners at the Human Area Women's Center to get them the wraparound services they may need to help them with their, you know, the emotional roller coaster that victims, especially victims of sexual assault, go through. We want to turn these victims into survivors. We want to hold this man accountable for every crime he's committed, and the only way we can do that is if people come forward. And so we're hoping that the victims that are out there that may be afraid, the fact that he's been charged, that he's been investigated and arrested and charged, is proof that we're going to take it seriously, and we're going to bring you justice, and we're going to bring him to justice, and we're going to bring justice to his victims. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. You started in precinct 4 in 2016.
That's our belief.
Is that when you became a law enforcement officer, or do you worry about his previous job?
I don't know off the top of my head. Do you, Commander? Well, we'll double check, and we'll have PIO send you that out. But the truth is, we need to focus not on timeframes. We need to focus on that face. We need to focus on a police officer, and quite frankly, whether it's him or someone else, our message goes beyond this case. It goes beyond this instance. It goes beyond this. It goes beyond to the fact that we know that sexual assault, especially in a community with 600,000 immigrants, many of them that are afraid, we want to know when someone's a victim. We want them to come forward. 2 women had the courage to cooperate with us, 2 victims, and without them, we wouldn't be standing here today talking about 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault and 1 count of official oppression. Okay? We're going to move into Spanish here in a minute. Go ahead.
If he does say, oh, this was consensual, I mean, from a legal standpoint, if he's in a marked unit, in his uniform, acting what perceives to be the victim of an official capacity, is that even possible?
Yeah, I mean, when a person's wearing a uniform and a gun and a badge and they stop you, and maybe you are in possession of marijuana, or you've been drinking, or you shouldn't have been driving, and you engage in sexual conduct, how can you have consent? I mean, that's what official oppression's all about. And so we're not going to sit here and debate the elements of the charge. Suffice it to say that we've worked very closely with the district attorney's office, and we've secured three counts here: 2 of aggravated sexual assault and 1 of official oppression. Yes, in one more in English. I'm going to move to Spanish, and we can do English on the rip and get these guys going.
Do you know if he would approach them and say something to them, like what was his, I don't know, how he operated?
Yeah, I mean, look, he'd stop them for a traffic and then he'd end up engaging in in these two instances where we know he sexually assaulted somebody. So you can look at the charging document. I'm sure you can find it later on, but I'm not going to get into the details. Yeah, last one.
He looks really, really different in these two photos.
Yeah.
Is it like he was trying to change?
No, I
his
mean, he's no
image?
longer a cop here, right?
Okay, so,
And,
yeah.
this is his booking photo yesterday, and this is his photo. And again, remember that the reports from our victims are he was wearing glasses, prescription glasses. Okay? En español. Hoy queremos decir que este sospechoso que ven aquí, que era un oficial del constables del condado de...
Hi everyone, I'm Reika Mutaraj in the newsroom. You have been listening to HPD Chief Art Acevedo. He is speaking about charges brought against a former Harris County deputy constable who has been indicted on both 2 counts of sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, and 1 count of official oppression. The police chief asking folks to take a look at this man's picture. His name is Richard Cornejo, and he is 37 years old, because they think there might be more victims out there, and they want people to take a look at him and come forward with any information they may have about other possible cases. Let me give you a little bit of the backstory on this. This is information that came to us yesterday. The grand jury indicted Richard Cornejo, who had been working as a patrol deputy before he was fired in November 2018. He's accused of sexually assaulting a woman while on duty. So prosecutors are saying that Cornejo was driving a marked patrol car. He found a woman sleeping in a car outside an after-hours club. This was back in July of 2018. That club, Palacios, I believe, in the Greens Point area. He gave us an address, 414 North Sam Houston Parkway. So Cornejo found a woman sleeping in her car outside this club, offered to follow her home. He had found a small amount of marijuana in her car, said, "I'll follow you home," and that's where prosecutors say Cornejo assaulted the woman. District Attorney Kim Ogg says he used his badge to commit the crime of rape. Now, Cornejo is facing up to 20 years in prison for rape and up to 1 year for official oppression. He was just arrested Thursday. Yesterday, he remains in jail on a $105,000 bond. And prosecutors say there might be more victims, which is why we were just listening to Chief Art Acevedo saying, hey, take a good look at this guy and please come forward. You know, he was really appealing to the public. He wants the media to get the message out there. Sexual assaults are some of the most underreported crimes in the country, and they believe there are other victims of Richard Cornejo, 37-year-old former Harris County deputy constable. Again, he wants people to take a look at the photo. Do you recognize him? This man also wears prescription glasses as well, so we're going to throw that photo up when we can. In the meantime, pleading with the public, Chief Acevedo, please come forward. He wants other victims to not be afraid to speak, especially appealing to those saying if you are undocumented, do not fear coming forward. We do need to hear from you. They are very confident that this is not the first time that Richard Cornejo may have been accused of sexually assaulting a woman. So we just wrapped that news conference up. We have the full press conference on our YouTube page and our KHOU Facebook page, and of course we have a caption in the link of this Facebook Live that we're doing right now, so you can click on that to again see Richard Cornejo's photo and also for the full news conference from our chief with HPD. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching this update, and we'll see you later on in the newsroom.